Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigler here and welcome back to our video. So in this one, we're going to do a bit of a tier list of all the silver characters in the game. I did do one of those previously, but that's kind of irrelevant now because back then we did not have League Invasions. So the performance in League Invasions of silver characters didn't matter, and honestly, that's the most important part out of them for now. I mean, except for Dr. Fate, who still does a lot in Soul Raids and sometimes Silver Bane and sometimes Silver Green Lantern. Mainly we're ranking them now considering the performance in League Invasions because there's that outpost that you have to have silver characters in order to be able to properly fight. I mean, to be able to fight at all. So we're gonna have a couple of tiers here. I'm gonna delimitate S tier. S tier is the best that you can get, but I'm gonna delimitate it in a few sections. It's gonna be just S tier, which means it's the best thing you can have for both offensive and defensive purposes. Is going to be S tier defense characters that are very good in a defensive outpost, and S tier attack characters that are very good at attacking. Because funny enough, some characters that are extremely good at attacking would be trash if you put them in the defensive outpost, and it also goes the other way around. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into it. First up, we have I forgot this character even existed, also known as Amazon Wonder Woman, and she's literally doing nothing. She's gonna have a passive that gives you a bit more health for female characters just by being in your roster. She's got a reflective shield, that's the only thing going for her, and because she's got a reflective shield, she's gonna get the mech tier. I'm not gonna put any character that has a reflective shield in the trash tier, because the reflective shield is annoying to deal with if she's in a defensive sub, though you're never gonna see her, and it's something that can actually buy you some time and help you out if you're in an offensive scenario. But yeah, she's mech tier at best. Let's move on. Next up, we have Silver Bane. If we take a look at the skills, he's literally got nothing going for him, but he's got this passive, which is going to give you a bit of damage on basic hits. It's going to give you a bit of crits. The crit is kind of irrelevant because it doesn't bypass the cap, so you can just have the crit on the build, but the damage on basics is quite nice, and he's a might character, so even though this is a stretch and I'm not really going to take that into account, though I mean, that kind of stands for the Wonder Woman character as well. She's also got to the access to the damage invulnerability passive if you class ascend it enough. But yeah, Bane is gonna be for me in the somewhat good tier. I think he shines a lot more in soul raids when paired up with characters that do damage on basic hits, but for League Invasions is somewhat good. You can somewhat justify using him as a support character, especially considering how limited the options are. Like, this is a thing that will come into play with a lot of characters, because there's a lot of characters here that are just garbage. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, they're actually somewhat good because we simply don't have better options, sadly. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, we got Silver Catwoman, and if you take a look at those things, like the passive gives you bonus credits and operations, you'd be like, Simple, this is trash, let's move on. Nope. This is an S tier damage tier, probably the best damage tier out of the silver characters, because a lot of the ways that you're gonna use, I mean, there's mainly two ways, might be more, and I'm not familiar with them. I guess you can also do that to an extent with the Silver Green Lantern special one, but the biggest problem in League Invasion is gonna be that Silver Superman, which you can't really deal with basic hits, and is gonna have a reflective shield. Now, what bypasses the reflective shield? Dot damage, and she's got dot damage on the special one, and this makes it very easy for her to activate puppets. So Silver Catwoman with Puppet of Satana equipped is gonna be probably the best and most optimal damage dealer to use against the Silver Outpost, and when it comes to taking care of Superman. I know this sounds weird, but just trust me on this one. I don't have her build, I have another damage dealer build that kind of works on the same logic, but trust me, I've seen some Silver Catwoman videos. This is insanely strong there, just because of the fact that it says dot damage here, and it's an ability with a convenient and fast animation. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put her all the way up into S tier attack. But yeah, let's move on. Silver Batman is gonna be a character that has a stun over here, and the passive that gives you some crit chance. Look, it's not that great. A lot of people are biased for this guy because it's the first character you get to play as. He has a cool look when it comes to level 60 gears maxed out, and Hey, he's Batman, but I'm gonna just give him the somewhat good tier, and I feel like I'm being a bit lenient here, just because a lot of you fanboys are gonna have him built anyway, so you might as well use him there. Why do I have two Catwomans? Oh, this is bad. This is the other Catwoman. This is the proper Catwoman. My bad. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, we got Cyborg. He's gonna not do anything except have a bit of a power drain on the special one, which I guess is good, and have a passive that allows you to generate health while you're out of combat. And this is extremely good, not for defensive teams, because defensive characters on defensive teams don't get to regen health, and currently the game is bugged and they can't even tag out. However, when it comes to your offensive teams, a problem that you're gonna run into quite a lot in League Invasions, and it's quite a funny problem. Your kickers are kind of dying, man. Your combo builder's kind of dying. Dr. Fate, who you have built at level 80 gears and with the proper build, is kind of dying. And this man kind of mitigates this. Like, once you get Puppet going on Batman Ninja Cat, on Silver Catwoman or other characters that we're gonna talk about later in this video, you no longer really need to tag characters in and out, but until you get to that point, you're gonna need to tank some damage. And this man is very good at tanking some damage, getting out of the fight, regening the health. And if you're stuck with using a team that doesn't use Puppet or don't have any puppets left and you need a combo builder, this man is one of the few characters that will actually resist the entire fight because of the insane regen that he has because of this passive. So for that purpose, I'm also going to give him S tier for attacking, but just know he serves as the tank in the team, and that's a very important role, but he's not the damage dealer in that team. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, so Grenaro got a power drain, I guess, and when his special 1 and special 2 crit, he's gonna split some damage to the entire enemy team, and he gives some fast attack damage to Black Canary, which is not that great. The main thing that is somewhat good is the power drain, I guess. And yet again, this is by no means a good character, but because we have limited choices, I'm actually gonna put him probably at somewhat good. But I feel though tempted to drop him at mech. I really like the fact that he's got that power drain there. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping him afloat here. Yeah, let's put it that let's put him at somewhat good. Let's move on. Third Deadshot's gonna deal more damage based on the distance you have from your opponents, I guess, which is pretty bad because the further away you are from the opponents, the more likely the opponent is to block projectiles before they hit them. It's gonna give you some crit chance for your entire team. This is bad. It's Silver Batman, but without the bias and without the stun on the special 2, and just getting not that great specials overall. I really don't like this, man. So yeah, we get our first trash mention over here. Let's move on. I'm not sure I need to explain myself that much here. It's my boy Dr. Fate. He's got the passive that is going to reduce the cost of your specials and reduce the defense of the enemy team by a little bit. But mainly the reduced power cost. When you're doing an offensive team, this is going to be amazing because you're going to be able to do your specials for cheaper, activate Puppet faster. When this is on the enemy team, it's awful because they're just going to spam specials. So I don't think this requires any further explanation. It's going to be S tier for both offensive teams and defensive teams. This character over here is what pretty much ruins the whole Silver Tower type of deal. Because with silver characters, when it comes to offensive capabilities, bro, I put that S tier Silver Catwoman spamming the special 1. I'm not saying that's good, I'm saying that's simply the best thing we can get. And when it comes to defensive, we got this man with the reflective shield and this passive that gives him a 50% chance to ignore attacks. Oh boy, it's such a huge discrepancy because this man is a lot better for defensive purposes than the best character for offensive purposes is for that purpose. Like, nah, bro. This man is too good considering the possibilities we have to deal damage only using silver characters. Like, this is awful, but it's S tier for defense. You're probably gonna see him in every single goddamn team that you're gonna fight. Same with Dr. Fate for the most part, and same with the next one. You don't really get too much diversity in terms of defensive team. The cat just scroll down by pressing space. But yeah, let's move on. Next up we have Joker. He's gonna have a passive that's is gonna stun the enemy for 9 seconds, and is gonna give you 3 power bars whenever he dies. But that's bad if that happens, because the main reason you want him is because of the special one, which yet again has some damage over time on it. I wouldn't call this as convenient as some other things that you can use, like Silver Catwoman, but this is also pretty good from what I've seen. Though this is the one that I'm kind of most unsure about. But I'm gonna put him for now at S tier attacking, just because of the dot damage and the fact that you need the dot damage to bypass the shield. Both Catwoman and him are to be used with Puppet of Zatanna, and ideally the way you want to do it is to have some crit chance on your combo builder so that they inflict dot on the enemy with that passive that you have from the League Towers, or no, facilities, from the League facilities, so that when you tag them in, they already have infinite power. But yeah, because of that purpose, is also probably S tier attacking, though again, this is the guy that I'm most unsure about. Okay, so Silver Grout does nothing except for having a reflective shield and having plus 50% damage when below 40% health, which is by no means much. So we're gonna put him at mech because he's got a reflective shield. And you're gonna notice a pattern, because I'm not gonna put characters that might be somewhat good at defensive towers at somewhat good. Because if we are to apply the logic, those guys, just by having a reflective shield, would be somewhat annoying to deal with the defensive towers. The defensive towers are only going to have 3 characters in them. When it comes to offensive, you might burn through 1, 2, 3 teams trying to just throw all you got against impossible odds trying to win. So that's why there's a bit more room for garbage when it comes to attacking, and far less room for defense, in my opinion. But yeah, let's move on. So Robin doesn't do anything except for having a passive that allows him to have a chance to get a lot more combos than he normally should. And this guy is very fast at building combos, and I love him. I'm probably a bit biased for this, but overall it's not the best thing. Because the problem is you're gonna have a lot of characters dodging, and as soon as they dodge, they're gonna hit you, and down the drain all your combo goes. If it wasn't for the dodge mechanic, at least once you dealt with Superman, you could normally build some combos and then tag the character to deal damage. My boy Robin would have something to do, but that's sadly not the case, because usually the characters that come along Superman are both gonna be arcane, which means they're gonna dodge every single class. So best I can do for my boy Robin is just somewhat good. You're probably gonna be fine using him as a combo builder if you got nothing left, but he's not gonna use his full potential there. Okay, so Silver Something doesn't do anything except for having a passive that it's gonna spawn something that heals himself if he's sitting on top of it, which is honestly not that great. It's not a great healing. I've tried it. It's not great. That's the best way I can describe it, and kind of unreliable. So sadly, my boy Something's gotta go into the trash tier. Like there's nothing this man can do right in League Evasions. There's no point in using him. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Silver Black Canary is gonna not do anything with specials, but have a passive that's gonna give her some fast attack damage, which is pretty bad, and some crit damage for Green Arrow teammates. Yeah, this is bad. I've built this character to try the fast attack damage synergy, and it's not great. I don't like it. She doesn't do anything. I regret my choices. I'm gonna give her the trash tier. Let's move on. Silver Flash doesn't do anything. He's got the passive that gives fast attack damage to the team, I guess. So we can put that on other stuff. He's got something that is gonna deal damage to tagged out opponents as well, I guess. And I never understood how exactly this passive works. So I guess we can give him somewhat of a benefit of the doubt and put him at somewhat good for the purpose of Robin. But just remember, out of this tier over here, the somewhat good, none of those characters would exist if we had better choices. None of those would be here. None of those would exist in this tier. They don't have any business in existing in this tier, but you just eventually run out of options in terms of what you can use for attack, and you're gonna cover out to some pretty questionable options as they're in this tier list. Okay, so Wonder Woman is gonna get damage against male opponents and is gonna give 10% attack for the team. Oh boy, look out, we're getting to some pretty pretty great bonuses here, and she's not gonna do anything except for having a reflective shield, I guess. Um, yeah, bro. Wait. Something's not right, because yeah, I'm just gonna start dropping some boys. Because look, for combo building purposes and survivability purposes, probably a character that's gonna have a reflective shield is gonna survive a lot more for you than any of this garbage over here. Do we even keep Batman here? Do I put Batman at trash? Because he doesn't really do that much, man. Like, I'm sorry. But yeah, those guys are not gonna be great either. We're at I don't know where to put this tier. Hold on, let me do something else. Let's go like this, and let's say as reflective shield. Because yet again, I feel like for survivability purposes, those guys, just because they have that specific ability, they're gonna be able to survive somewhat better than any of the trash over here. But yeah, let's move on. I don't know, this is probably gonna be very questionable. Though the shield also consumes some power when you use it, and you might want to save that for something else. If you're keeping puppet active, you're not gonna. I don't know, bro. Okay, let's keep it like this. Okay, let's keep it like this for now. But it's really questionable with some choices. Like, yeah, I'm dropping Flash. I'm dropping Flash for sure. Let's move on. Okay, so Silver Scarecrow is a very underrated silver for defensive purposes. Because whenever you're gonna play League Invasions, you're gonna need to tag in and out, generate some power until you get that set up for silver characters to use Puppet or whatever you're using. You're probably gonna tag in and out a fair bit. And what this man does is it's gonna have a 75% chance to stop your tagging and stun you for 3 seconds. And considering how much stats the defensive characters in the League Invasion teams have usually, 3 seconds is gonna be more than enough to get killed. So this is pretty good. I'm gonna put him at somewhat good actually. I don't feel like he deserves um, S defense, but I'm gonna put him at somewhat good for the defense capabilities that he could have. Main problem is we have versus him, we have Superman, and we have this guy and this guy that we're gonna talk about. Let's just put him at S defense and get to him in a second. Alright, so my boy Silver Green Lantern here is gonna have Green Barrier, which is gonna give you a shield equal to 25% of max health. Thankfully, this does not apply to the total amount of health of characters in League Invasions. They're held before they get the bonuses from the tower, as far as I'm aware. Though it's still going to be a very annoying shield because you're going to get arcane characters that dodge, and most teams are going to open with Superman, and Superman has an innate chance to dodge at 50%. If he's got even an artifact that is going to make him dodge, it's just going to be unhittable and constantly hitting you, relentlessly hitting you, and you simply don't get openings to break this garbage. Yeah, I've had some bad experience playing against Green Lantern. Like, this is not good. It's definitely S tier defense. Silver Aquaman is gonna have a passive that gives you stun resistance and defense for my teammate, which is not the best thing, but the best thing is really the special 2 because it's gonna be something that deals hazard dots, which bypasses collector's shields. Not collector's, silver super. Bro, silver super feels a lot more threatening, honestly, than collector nowadays. But yeah, it's gonna bypass the reflective shield with the hazard here. It's gonna have a relatively good time keeping Puppet active, and he's gonna power drain the enemy. Like, when you compare this guy to Catwoman or Joker, the downside is that it's gonna be a very clunky combo to do. It's gonna be a far more annoying combo to pull off than the combo that you usually pull off with the other two guys. But on the plus side of things, you're gonna keep the enemy power drained, so you don't have to worry about them using super moves or the next character that tags in using super move. You know, it's not that big of a deal because we can predict it, because characters don't tag in and out any longer when you face them. But probably that's gonna get fixed with the next update, and having your Oh, they can't tag out because of the puppet if you activate puppet anyway, I guess, because that's a negative effect from puppet. But yeah, you don't worry too much about the next character tagging in if you kill one. This guy is a bit more inconvenient to use than the other two, but it's definitely also S tier for attacking purposes. And lastly, we have Harley Quinn. She's got a passive that gives her more damage on swipes, I guess. And she's got a passive that is gonna have a few random negative effects, out of which one of them is gonna randomly trigger, which is not that great. Like, I really don't like Harley. I don't see any purpose of her being good, so I'm just gonna drop her here. But yeah, this is the tier list. Again, this is very hard to do because the hardest, bro, the easiest thing is to put the characters in the best positions. S tier, I fully stand behind this. S tier defense, I fully stand behind this. S tier attack, I fully stand behind this. But when it comes to sorting through trash, that's the hardest thing to do with tier list, and this one is full of trash. Full of trash. It's just we don't have other options, man. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you would like to see changed about this, or what you think I did wrong, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.